The last dollar felt heavier than 100 pounds as it lay in the palm of a broke single father's hand, right there under the harsh white lights of a small grocery store in Ohio. The line was long. The baby in his arms was crying softly, and the diapers on the counter suddenly looked like a luxury he could no longer afford. His chest tightened with shame and fear, because this was not just about money anymore. It was about whether he could protect the tiny life depending entirely on him. What happened in the next few moments would change his life forever. If you believe in kindness quests second chances, and that one human decision can rewrite destiny, take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Michael Carter had never imagined his life turning out this way. Raised in a Christian home in Indiana, he grew up believing hard work always paid off and faith filled the gaps when strength ran out. He married young, worked construction during the day and night shifts at a warehouse, and dreamed of a quiet, stable future. But life unraveled faster than he could hold it together. His wife passed away during childbirth, leaving him alone with a newborn daughter and a grief so heavy it made breathing feel like work. Medical bills consumed their savings, his job cut hours, and eventually the eviction notice came. He moved into a small rented room, then a cheaper one, and finally into a situation where every dollar had a job before it ever reached his wallet. That night at the store, Michael had already made the hardest calculations a parent should never have to make. Gas or formula, rent late fee or diapers. He had skipped meals for days, telling himself hunger was easier to manage than guilt. The baby girl in his arms, Lily, was all that mattered. Her tiny fingers clutched his jacket, unaware of the storm raging inside him. When the cashier announced the total, Michael's heart sank. He counted the cash slowly, knowing before he finished that it was not enough. His last dollar stared back at him like a quiet accusation. Behind him in line stood Daniel Whitmore, a man few would recognize without the tailored suits and corner offices. He was the CEO of a national retail chain, worth hundreds of millions, yet utterly alone that evening. Raised in a wealthy Christian family in New York, Daniel had inherited both fortune and expectations early. Success came easily, connection did not. His marriage collapsed under the weight of ambition, and his grown children lived lives that barely intersected with his. That night, he had stopped at the grocery store not out of need, but out of restlessness, wandering aisles he usually paid others to navigate, trying to feel like a normal human being again. Daniel noticed Michael before he noticed the diapers. He saw the slump of exhausted shoulders, the way Michael balanced the baby gently, instinctively, with practiced love. He heard the tremor in the cashier's voice as she waited, the impatience in the line, the quiet desperation filling the space. Something inside Daniel shifted. It was not pity. It was recognition. He remembered his own childhood, his mother teaching him that faith meant seeing people, not stepping over them. The moment stretched, thick and uncomfortable. Michael felt eyes on him and wished the floor would open up and swallow his embarrassment. He was ready to remove the diapers from the counter, to apologize, to walk out and figure something else out somehow. Pride battled survival, and survival was winning. That was when Daniel stepped forward, his voice calm but firm, cutting to the tension like a hand on a shoulder. He made a decision without calculating the cost, because some things should never be calculated. What followed was not loud or dramatic. No one clapped. No cameras flashed. But the air changed. The diapers stayed. More than that, every pack on the shelf went with them. Michael stood frozen, disbelief washing over him in waves. He felt something unfamiliar rise in his chest. Not relief alone, but dignity returning after months of feeling invisible. Daniel did not linger or explain himself. He paid, nodded once, and walked away as if this were the most natural thing in the world. Michael left the store that night with more than diapers. He left with hope, fragile but alive. The cold air hit his face as he strapped Lily into her car seat, tears finally falling where no one could see them. He drove home slowly, hands shaking, whispering prayers of gratitude he had not known how to form before. That night, Lily slept peacefully, dry and warm, while Michael sat awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment over and over, wondering why a stranger would care. The weeks that followed were still hard. One act of kindness did not erase bills or trauma, but something inside Michael had changed. He stopped seeing himself only as a failure. He applied for assistance programs he had been too ashamed to approach. He took a job farther away, riding buses before sunrise, working construction sites until his hands cracked. He enrolled in night classes to earn a certification that could lead to steadier work. Every diaper change reminded him of that moment in the store, a silent promise that he would not waste the grace he had been given. Daniel, meanwhile, returned to his life outwardly unchanged. Board meetings, earnings reports, charity galas that fell hollow. Yet that grocery store moment followed him like a quiet echo. For the first time in years, he felt connected to something real. He began asking different questions in meetings, pushing initiatives focused on affordability and community support. His foundation quietly expanded programs for struggling parents, not as branding, but as responsibility. He never searched for Michael. He believed kindness did not need follow-up to be valid. Years passed. Lily grew into a bright, curious child who loved books and asked endless questions. Michael's life stabilized inch by inch. He secured a small apartment, then a better one. He graduated from his program and landed a supervisory role. He volunteered at a local church food pantry on weekends, often remembering the weight of that last dollar and the way it had almost crushed him. He taught Lily gratitude not as obligation, but as awareness. Their paths crossed again in a way neither expected. Michael was invited to speak at a community workforce event, sharing his journey from near homelessness to stability. Daniel attended as a sponsor, sitting quietly in the back. When Michael described the grocery store night, the diapers, and the stranger who had intervened without asking anything in return, Daniel recognized the story instantly. He felt a tightening in his throat he was not used to feeling. Michael never named the man. He did not need to. The point was not the giver, but the act. The room listened differently that day. Employers offered opportunities. Donations flowed. Lives shifted. After the event, Daniel approached Michael privately, not as a CEO, but as a man. There was no grand reunion, no declarations, just a shared understanding that some moments echo far beyond themselves. Daniel met Lily, saw the future walking beside her father, and understood the true return on investment he had made that winter night. Just before the story ends, take a moment to comment below and share whether you believe one small act of kindness can change the course of an entire life.